Okay.
Okay, welcome to part two of our team call tonight. So, this is the meat of what we're doing. So, Amber is going to be talking about setting priorities, which actually ties in really well with what we just talked about with all of our goal setting for the last 45 minutes. Okay, so part two. This is the priority step. Amber, take it away. I'm going to mute everybody and we can all learn from you. Hold on one second.
Awesome. Okay. Everybody's on. Can everyone hear me? Just thumbs up. Okay, because I'm using this headset, so I just want to make sure that I can be heard appropriately. So, the inspiration for tonight's call came from my current personal development addiction, and that is what it is, to the Life Coach School podcast by Brooke Castillo. And I've just been listening to them straight through when I'm driving in the car on my way to work, and they're like 25, 35 minutes long. And if I get to my destination, I shut it off, pick it back up when I get back in the car. So sometimes it's been relating to business stuff, sometimes it relates to personal stuff, but almost every one of them is related to something that I've needed help with. And the other day, Alana and I were talking about goals that I had, for my business and what I was struggling with, which almost 99.9% of the time is consistency and making time for my business. And part of that making time is just that like work family life balance. So we were talking about different strategies for that. And then that night I go to work and I get in the car and I turn on Brooke, and the podcast that she did was on priorities and how to figure out what your priorities are, and what kind of things you need to set for your priorities. And it spoke so clearly. I think, Alana, did you listen to the podcast? Okay. So it just speaks so freaking clearly to what we struggle with like every day with this business, on our personal end of it. Um, that I was like mind blown. Like I literally, I think I paused it mid podcast to text Alana, and I was like, we have to talk about this today, like now, because it's just so perfect. So I don't know how many of you guys have struggled with, like what order to even do things with your day, and how to prioritize anything in your life, let alone this business, plus whatever other hats you wear throughout the day. But Brooke had some really cool methods for figuring some stuff out, and I wanted to share just a couple of them with you guys tonight. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to sit down and write down the top 5 things that you feel are the most important in your life that you need to spend your time and energy on. And they could be anything, but top 5 just kind of global ideas about what you need to focus on. So family, health, work, whatever you feel like your top 5 are. Then of those 5, you're going to start with the top one, and you're going to say, is there anything else on this list that I would put above this? And you're going to narrow it down. So you're just going to move down the list. Is this more, my taking care of my children more important to me than my health? Is taking care of my children more important to me than my job? And you go through and you layer them. And sometimes at first you're like, oh, duh, like, of course taking care of my kids is more important than anything else. But you have to kind of really sit down and think about what does it entail to actually prioritize the things that you're thinking of. Because to be honest, I think that my health is probably higher on the list than taking care of my children. And if that sounds funny to you, just hear me out. If I'm not healthy, how the hell am I going to take care of somebody else? Like, how am I going to focus on my children and their well-being if I'm laid up in bed sick? How am I going to focus on my children's extracurricular activities if I'm so overweight that I can't go sit at a soccer field with my children, and in the sun, or whatever the thing may be with your children? So you have to kind of go through, is your job to you more important than your marriage? You have to parse those things out. And the way she suggests to do that is once you get your top 3 global items, and you could even do all 5 if you've got the time, then you're going to go into each one of those items and you're going to list the top 5 priorities within that item. And it's going to kind of give you an idea of what it's going to take for you to prioritize that item and how much time you have. It kind of just gets you in that mindset to think about those things. So, what do I really need to do in order to take care of my children? What are the top 5 things I need to do? I need to provide a roof over their head and food in their mouths. They can't live without that. What priority do I need to have in order to do those things? To have a job. I need to make money. I can't put a roof over their head without that. So, whereas I previously may have thought I need to take care of my children is higher than my job, it might not actually be. And the same thing with health. And that is my job more important than my marriage? Do I have to have this particular job in order to be happy in my marriage? Not. Do I need to have a happy marriage for me to really?
Amber, can I hop in?
Yes.
Your
Yeah.
audio is cutting in and out.
Oh, why is it doing that?
Mm.
Hold on, let me see if I take the headset off. I know that having the headset off is really bad. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I might just have to get real close because it likes to be a jerk. Like, just like flag me down if it starts cutting out really bad. Okay. So you just go through and you get your 5 global, big umbrella ideas, and then priorities, and then you go list the top 5 things that you would need in order to make those a priority in your life. That's going to really kind of give you an idea of what, if you're doing it for your life, it's going to give you an idea of what you need to do to make yourself happy in your life. Like if you're not meeting your priorities and your goals, doesn't that just like make you crazy? Doesn't it make you sad? It makes you beat yourself up. So you do that and it tells you what you need to prioritize on. And then you sit down and think about how much time it really takes to get those things done. Because if you think about it, if you're thinking about everything in hindsight or at the last second, oh no, I ran out of milk. Oh crap, I need to put gas in the car. Oh no, my kid's got this appointment that I forgot about. If you're just running around putting out fires as they're starting rather than making plans ahead of time to make sure the fires never start in the first place, you waste so much time chasing your tail, just trying to figure out what way is up, that you'll find out that a lot of your day is spent just trying to figure out what the hell to do next, right? So by sitting down and figuring out your top 5 priorities in each area, you'll be able to figure out, you know what, it really isn't going to take me all that much time to just sit down and make a shopping list if that's what, your priority is to keep your stress down. How it ties into us is your job, your business, this Beachbody, if you want to be successful, should be in that top 5 list. It really needs to be. And to have a successful business, there are top coaches in the business that have told us that they started this business having an hour or 2 a day to work on their business. And if you think about it, people spend an hour just watching their favorite TV show. People can figure that out. They can figure out how to get an hour set aside a week to watch The Bachelor or whatever your favorite TV show is. So what is more important to you is making this business killer and helping people and making money and being your own boss and going home. Is that more important to you than The Bachelor or insert Walking Dead or insert, Game of Thrones, insert? Is it more important to you than that? Because if it is, that needs to go higher on the priority list. Okay. Are you guys with me? I feel like I just chewed you guys a new one. My mom voice came out. So, next. And I know you're going to look at me like, homework, Amber, really? Really? But what I want you to do is for one day in the next week, I want you to take a notebook and I want you to just kind of roughly write down everything that you are doing during the day. And I don't mean like 9:01, I inhaled, 9:01 in 2 seconds, I exhaled, and then I inhaled again. Like, not like that. But like roughly from, I know Alana's schedule. She gets up at like, dark 30 in the morning, and hers will say like, had my Energize, spent 45 minutes working out, spent 30 minutes meditating, reading personal development, picking my nose, whatever it is. But you write down throughout your day how much time you're spending on everything that you're doing throughout the day. Then after you've done that for a full day, look at your priorities list and look at what's happening on your time journal for that day, and see if they're lining up. And you can do this if you want to simplify it more, so you're not just like, whoa, my whole life, trying to figure everything out. Simplify it down to just what you're doing for your business, just for your power hour. Take a notebook and just figure out what it is that you do when you sit down and you say, I'm working. What did I do during that time period? Set a little stopwatch, not necessarily a timer, but the stopwatch on your phone, and say, I'm going to do inviting right now. Hit start, don't look at it, and just do what you normally do for your invites. Boom, 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 boom. And then when you would normally have stopped, hit stop and see how much time you spent on that and how productive you were during that time period. Then you'll go through and you'll look, okay, like me personally, when I did this, I spent way too much time adding people to my network, which, don't get me wrong, is a good thing. But I could add all the people to my network that I want. And if I never post anything and I never invite them, they're just sitting there on my friends list getting nothing from me, right? So I discovered that I need to sit down and I need to take some of that time that I need to, divert it. Sound? I don't know. I don't know how to fix it. But I know personally I have to divert energy from things that I'm spending too much time on and divvy them into other areas. So do that time journal at least for your power hour. If you're feeling froggy, do it for your whole day, but at least for your power hour, or whatever method that you use for taking your time for work, and see how productive you really are in that time, and see where you can take that information and you can tweak it. Tweak your schedule. And if it means a timer, that's what I had to start doing. I had to set a freaking 10-minute timer and say, I'm only allowed to invite. That's all I'm doing during this time period. Invite, invite, invite. Okay? Figure out what it is that you're lacking in. Look at what your strengths are and mold it so that way your priorities are being met every day, every week, every month. Okay? Does anybody have any questions? Okay. So the other thing that I wanted to chat with you guys about was, oh my gosh, hold on. Hey, when I have a brain fart, stupid concussion. Oh my goodness. What was it?
Amber, while you're thinking,
Yes.
I have heard this from a couple of other personal development sources. I listen to a lot of Grant Cardone, like he's my man. He talks about this. I know, who's the other one? Darren Hardy, who wrote The Compound Effect. He talks about this. And it's about like when these people who are so successful and who do, who create content to help other people be more successful, Brooke Castillo, like this woman, like she's built this multi-million-dollar coaching business. They have their shit together. And when all of these people who do this and are successful talk about these things that make your life easier when you implement them, it's a good idea for us to do that too. And I've heard this exact same thing, like write down how much time each day you're spending doing things. Like even, if you really want to be really compulsive about it, like when you're sitting at work, how many times do you click over and check the weather? How many times do you check your email? What are you doing that you could be doing something with your time that is more productive? Because I'm guilty of checking the weather all damn day long. So just saying. So Amber, did you remember? Did I waste enough time? Okay, good.
No, yeah, what it was, it's because it doesn't seem like it's a topic that, like, Oh, gosh, my stupid volume. Do you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Good. Okay. So it was because it seems like it's a topic that's not directly related, but it does tie back. And I had to write it down because I was like, I know I'm going to forget to talk about this. But she talks about the difference between what is urgent and what is important. And this is super important with your priorities list. And the example she gives is when you're sitting down having a conversation with somebody and engrossed in this conversation, super important. Sound. What the heck? This is making me sad. So, um, you're having a super important conversation with somebody, and say it's about your business or about money. You know, they're about to give you $1 million, right? And you just have to have this conversation with them to get it. And your phone rings. What does every person you know do? Stop the conversation, right? You pull out the phone, look at the phone, maybe even answer it. And she talks about, is that phone call urgent or is it important? That doesn't always mean the same thing. Just because this little electronic device is being noisy in your purse doesn't mean that the phone call that is happening is important or even important enough to interrupt the conversation you're having with the person that's right in front of you right now. And in this day and age, people think, I've got a phone call, I've got a text message, I have an email, I have to look at it right now. Like if I don't look at that kitty cat video that my sister just sent me, the internet's going to explode. And that's not the case. So it's another, key thing that we have to look at with our priorities. It might be something that seems like it should be an urgent thing, but it might not be an important thing. So when you go through your priorities, I want you to write that down too. Okay. Because I think that's how I got into the whole of add, because my it now. I feel like I'm overwhelming my microphone. Like I talk too much and I blew its mind. I need a microphone. You're going to set up a GoFundMe. So anyway, oh, it's totally derailed. I was on a roll too. God dang it. Anyway, make sure that what you are wanting to do is actually important, if that makes sense. Does that make sense, everyone? Like it might seem urgent that somebody messaged you back about a challenge pack, but don't let that derail you doing your invite or your post or whatever it is your goal is for that 15 minutes, because that person is not going to ask you about more information about Shakeology and then 15 minutes out from now be like, nope, you didn't write me back. Nope, no one hear it. They're not going to do that. And to be honest, the most freeing thing I ever did was what Ilana told me, and it was shut off your notifications. Shut them off. My notifications are not on. So if you need to reach me for anything important, text me. And that's what I tell everyone now. But like, I message people and I leave it. And when it's time for me to read messages and answer messages, that's when I go in and I answer them. But I don't live by the notifications popping up on my phone anymore. And it has been so freeing and has made me so much more productive when I'm actually sitting down and trying to be. So make your priorities list, break down that priorities list into what you need to do to be successful with those priorities, and then determine, are they urgent or are they important? And it's possible for them to be urgent and important, like my house is on fire and I need to call the fire department. But you could also have things that are urgent that are not important. And that's where you need to make the distinction, okay? The other thing that you guys are doing homework this week is to make sure that you're focusing on your goals that we came up with tonight, and that based off of your goals that you have tonight, watch what you're doing this week. Are you prioritizing so that way you're doing those goals? If you've got an hour to sit down and your goal is to send out invites, knock those freaking suckers out first, right? And then move on to whatever else you have on your priority list. Second thing is, based off of what you were successful in and what you maybe weren't successful in, make your goals for next week as well, because we're going to do this at the beginning of every call from now on. You need 2 goals that are business, one that's personal, that are able to be done in 7 days. Now, I'm not saying you can't become like a top millionaire coach in 7 days, because Lord help me, someone will prove me wrong. But, make it small, manageable bites, because I have big goals for this business, but none of them I think will be, if you think too big, you're going to get overwhelmed and you're not going to do it. So you need to, if my goal is every day this week, I, talk to 3 people in meaningful conversations, then that's what I need to make sure that I'm doing. That is going to be at the top of my priority list for my business for this week. And I'm hoping that maybe if we do this every week, there won't be so many, oh, I know I needed to do that. It'll be like, dude, you had 3 jobs. That's all you had for this week, was 3 jobs. Get them done. Okay. That's all I got. No more cutting out. No more flies.
Awesome. I love it. I love the simplicity of it, because it's not a bunch of crazy stuff. So yes, like Amber said, so make sure that you're, and I just want to kind of reiterate one thing, which is exactly what you said at the end, like what you're doing, like your goals should tie into your priorities. Like your business goals and your personal goals for this week need to tie into the priorities that you have for your life. So once you make those, think about what your goals are for next week, and make sure that those are aligned. I mean, I know, like, we set goals today that, we haven't done this priority analysis yet of ourselves, but going forward, that priorities list for your for your life or for your business, or however you choose to break it down and do it, is the goals that you're setting for yourself each week should be in alignment with that. Words. They're there somewhere. So yes, awesome. Thank you so much, Amber. That is phenomenal. So I think what we're going to do, so hopefully next week, are you muted? Is my microphone?
No, I said my other business goal for this week is to get a new microphone.
All I saw was microphone because I couldn't hear you. Okay. So next week when we do this, hopefully it won't take as long to go through everybody's goals. But when you are doing goal setting, make them as specific and simple as possible, which is like, I know this is something we've been hammering on. And if you've been around for a while, you've heard me say, let's simplify, like every 30 minutes. But if your goals are just to do your vital behaviors every day, and that is one of your goals, and that happens to be your goal every week for the next, year, that's a perfect goal. Do not devalue a goal because it is simple. Simple is better because it becomes more, you can see it in your mind a lot better than something that is very complex and nebulous that kind of throws you off. So if it is simple, like one of my goals, it's so simple. Make them simple. Like, make them so simple that there's no way that you will not accomplish them. And as long as you are doing them and being consistent, you're going to move your business forward. The trick is to set the goals that align with your priorities so that even though they're simple, they're powerful.
That's the beautiful thing with this business, is that this business can be built on snowballing. So the thing with the 4 vital behaviors is they're not inherently difficult tasks. Like typing the words and sending them to somebody is not a difficult task. And like striving for the no's, like don't worry about the yeses you're getting, but just shoot a goal for getting as many no's as you possibly can. You're casting a wider net, you're going to catch more fish with it, kind of, thing. Doing these little steps, these little tiny little things, they add up like bricks to a wall, and eventually you're going to have, this huge successful wall of a business that was built on all of these little actions that you're promising yourself and that you're following through on every week.
Exactly. I will say, because when I typed out, when I was writing out the a certain number of no's for a goal, I do want to clarify that, because like if you just ask somebody and they say, you say, do you want to join a challenge group? And they say no, that's not a real no. A no means you say, can I follow up with you another time? And they say, sure. So that's not a no. Or, it's a true no is when you get all the way through a conversation and, you've had the opportunity to ask them, all the questions. Like, keep digging until you get, basically until they tell you to just go away. That's a no. When they say, I am not interested in what you are offering me, and I feel like I have my own health and fitness under control and I don't need help from you, that is a true no. Everything else is not a no. Which means that by going through and like getting to the bottom of that no, you're going to get a lot of yeses. But if your goal is no's, you have to ask those hard questions. You have to get to the very bottom of the conversation. So that's what a real no is.
Well, here's the thing: you're not going to get the no's if you don't actually ask the questions. It doesn't count if you're like, want to try Beachbody? Nope. Okay, that counts. Like, in order you have to strive for the proper no's, and you have to ask the actual questions and talk to people.
Yeah,
it's pretty simple.
Yeah. Any questions about anything? Okay. If you guys need help with goals for next week, reach out in the team thread, in the chat. Crap. Talk to us, please.
Team thread.
I was trying to get chat in there somehow too. It's the treacherous.
The team chat.
That one. Because goals are important. Like, we all need to do more goal setting, and this is a good little like dip your toe into the world of goal setting, because small goals give you the confidence to set the larger goals for yourself. So like if you haven't really committed to setting a large goal for yourself, maybe it's because you don't believe in your ability to reach your small goals. So setting these little goals that you can reach every month or week or day, like even if you find yourself setting daily goals, like I'm going to drink my shake today, and you make that, like, that's a win. And that gives you confidence to set your goals for tomorrow and be like, I'm going to, I don't know, drink 2 shakes tomorrow. I have no idea. Like, do your thing. Like, I don't know. But, I'm sorry, you guys, my legs are terribly itchy. It's dry. Like, but, set your little goals, set your goals for the week. And that's going to give you the confidence to start, dreaming big and setting bigger goals for yourself. That's all I got. All right. Well, thank you, you guys. I love having so many people on our calls. It makes me so happy. I will post part 1 and part 2, and we will, and during the week too, like if you get stuck on your goals, don't be afraid. Don't feel shame about it. Don't feel like you should be ashamed of yourself, and don't feel guilty about it. Reach out. I may not check in with you in the middle of the week, but if you need something, reach out to anybody. Reach out to any one of us. If you need more from me and I'm not giving it to you, reach out, because sometimes I get caught up in what I'm doing, and we all have busy lives, and that's not my intention. It doesn't mean that I don't want to connect with you, but don't be afraid to bother me or the chat or Amber or anybody else that you need to reach out to. You are totally not bothering anybody. Like, your success is our success. When you are successful, we are successful. And so it should, it is my job, and it should be, my job and anybody else in our upline to help you, because they benefit from your success as well. So do not feel like you're bothering us. I mean, even not Melissa, not you, but even like Melissa Hadley, who just had a baby, like, she is still working her ass off, and she's still reaching out to people. And like, I've heard people say, well, I don't want to bother her but like, she is putting her business first, probably because she has set her priorities. And yes, she has an infant, but she has the opportunity to turn her phone off and not check her messages. So if she's checking her messages, that means that she's working and she's happy to get back to us. So that is how I feel about asking questions. So ask away. Let us know if you need anything. And that's it. Okay. All righty, everybody. Have an awesome, awesome week. The flash sale is like going on as we speak. I hope you guys have people in there and you're tagging them in posts and checking out what's going on. And you can add people now, you can add people tomorrow, you can add people. It goes all the way through Thursday. Any single person you've talked to ever about Shakeology should be in that group. Okay. Peace. I mean, have a great evening. Bye, guys.